What if female Deku was Trixie? Part 2. As we hear knocking. Ma'am, Miss Midoriya, the limo's ready. No response. Midoriya? Ma'am? Um, I'm entering your office. As the guard opens the door. As he walks in. Inko Midoriya! As he walks around. Where is she? She was here an hour ago. As he walks around the table and finds Inko unconscious. Ma'am! As he checks her pulse. Faintly alive. As a few guards come in. What's the commotion? Get an ambulance here now. The personal doctors. Not an ambulance to a hospital. But that's the best way she should be treated. Personal doctors. Too many people will take advantage of our situation if they find out Inko Midoriya is going to be hospitalized. What about her daughter? Just tell her that her mother will have to be staying a extra couple of weeks due to some problems that had just come up. But she hasn't been home in almost a month or two. Exactly. Alright, I'll give the call. And have the doctors hurry up. As you say, sir. As they go to do that, as currently the Midoriya residence is getting a call. This is James. James, this is head of security for Inko Midoriya. What seems to be the call? I need you to come up with a way to make sure her daughter does not find out the situation. What's going on over there? Nothing that really concerns you, but she won't be back for a little bit. Maybe a month or two. I'll need you to find an excuse reasonable enough to tell her daughter. Lying to the miss isn't exactly a fond thing of the estate, you know. I know, but this is urgent. We can't let any news spread. That's why I'm not telling you the details. Are you sure about this? Lying to the miss isn't exactly a good idea. Especially about something that revolves her family. There's hardly any home for her anyway, are they? As he holds the phone down for a moment as he looks. That's true, they're barely even home as it is. Alright, I will come up with an excuse. Just brief me on this later. Sure thing. As he hangs up the phone, what's happening over there? As James would wait till the next morning, as Trixie had woken up. Alright. What's for the course of today's breakfast? As Trixie would walk down to go eat breakfast, as James is waiting down at the table to wait for Trixie. Excuse me, miss, we need to talk. What is it, James? I got an interesting phone call last night after you went to bed. And what might that be? Due to some unfortunate circumstances revolving around business, your mother will not be back for quite some time. But she promised me she'd be back. Unfortunately, something came up and your mother cannot return. I do not know the details myself of the current predicament that she is in, but apparently a very important business matter had come up that she had to attend to. I understand. Can you at least tell me when she'll be back? Unsure, a month or two at most. Possibly 3, given the circumstance. I don't know the full detail. Very well. When do I start UA? Next week. I should really work on a hero costume. The very powerful Trixie. What costume? Definitely want a hat to show off my power. May I recommend the same design for your cloak as your hero costume? Why, of course! The great and powerful Trixie needs the best of the best. I'll hire the best designer that the Midoriya family knows. Thank you, James. Now, let's eat breakfast. As we would skip to the day of first day in class. Now, the limo goes to drop off Trixie. So this is UA. I know I was here just last week, but I guess I thought it was more impressive than this. Oh well. As she walks in. Now I'm in class 1B, so which class is that again? Ah, yes, the lower class of hero. So I'm basically in the hero course, but they don't see my full potential to give me the highest class. I guess I'll just have to show them. As she's making her way to class 1B. As she turns a corner and something awkward happens. As Kendo is dragging Monoma. As Trixie raises an eyebrow. Should I even ask? Oh, sorry about him. He was doing something stupid again and I need to get him out of there. I'm currently taking him to class. What class are you in? With her eyebrows still raised. Class 1B. That happens to be the class I'm in. May I follow? Of course. As Trixie would follow Kendo while Kendo is dragging Monoma to class 1B. So, how'd you get to UA? Through recommendations. You? I did it through the entrance exam. Ooh, how many points did you get on the entrance exam? I'm not sure. I think it was around 50 or 30. I didn't really keep track of how many robots I took out. Fair point. As they both enter class, as a handful of students have already entered the class, such as Pony, the Vine Girl, the Manga Panel, Tetsu, and the Yeti person. As Trixie goes to take a seat near the window. As she sits down, as she starts to think about the conversation her and James had this morning. Remember, miss, this is your first day at a hero school. Remember to have the proper equipment. And don't worry, the limo will be able to pick you up every day after your classes are over. We'll also get a phone call from your father probably within the next month. I'm not sure. Your family dilemma has been really interesting lately. Yes, I'm aware. But for make extra precautions, we are having to up security around the manor. You're upgrading security around the manor? Yes, as precautions due to some information I had gotten. Very well. Well, I better get off to school. As Trixie would go into the limo. And that's the end of the flashback. As Trixie would just be looking out the window before scanning the room. So these will be my classmates. A Vine Girl. Someone that looks like a manga panel. Bigfoot. Someone that could turn himself into steel. Someone that has large hands. And someone that's going to be a problem, referring to the still knocked out Monoma in his chair. And is she wearing a mushroom hat? As she would then just stop looking around the class before noticing someone enter. It happened to be a girl with horns. It would be Pony. As Pony had entered the class, A similar quirk to mine, definitely revolving around, well, a horse, most likely. Interesting. Well, I better keep things, as she would touch her gem, secure here. As she had brought her green gem this time. As it's wrapped around her cape, she still wears the uniform. She's just allowed to wear the cape, as well as any accessories as well. Because these accessories do not go, they apply to the UA policy. And after the entire class had arrived, Vlad, which I believe is the hero that teaches this class, comes in. Hello, Class 1B. I will be your teacher for the homeroom teacher for the next 4 years. Definitely a hero, but which type? I only know of a handful of heroes here in UA. We have a Racerhead, a really well-known underground hero that one of my, well, butlers was looking into. As well as there was Midnight, which I met at the recommendation exam. Then the word of All Might going here caused word to spread like wildfire. Now, first of all, I would like for all of y'all to introduce yourselves. As the class would go introduce themselves, one by one. And around this time, Monoma did wake up. As it would be time for, well, Trixie's turn. Well, I guess it's my time to reveal who I am, as Trixie would go to the front of the class. Hello, everyone. I am the all-powerful Trixie Midoriya. As some of them would be shocked and some of them would be confused. As Yui, I believe, was that class's student's name. Wait, you're part of the Midoriya family? Yes. As someone would ask, the Midoriya family? Yeah, they're like one of the most richest family in Japan. As this would shock the entire class. As Trixie Deku would smirk. Of course they know who I am. As she would walk back to her desk before taking a seat. Now listen up. Today will be just an introduction. You don't have to introduce your quirks if you don't want to. Of course, they did the quirk introduction shortly after the introduction of names. As we go back to Trixie, my quirk is Unicorn. I'm able to use magic. As she would create like a few fireworks in her hand, which would go up and create like a fireworks show in the room, which would catch several of the students' eyes. That's a really cool quirk, but how is it useful in combat? Kendo asked. Oh, it's actually really helpful. I can enhance my strength, speed, also power, although that's not the only limits to my quirk. But yes, as she does not reveal the part where she basically drains gems and items, jewels for the most part, to enhance her power and increase. She didn't tell them any of that. As then class would go on as usual. Trixie would make a few friends, being Pony, Kendo, Monoma, because Trixie's and Monoma's has similar, I would say, preferences, but they act a bit similar. So Trixie would get along with them and then would talk to Tetsu, and that would be it for how many friends she made for today. As the class and the day was setting, as she would walk out in the hall, looking out the window, today has been unpreventful so far, just introduced to the class. As she would go to, well, leave, as of course there would be a limo waiting outside, as she would get the limo. As the driver, "How was your day, Miss?" It was fine. Class 1B wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. You still a bit upset that you didn't get in Class 1A? Why, of course. Someone as powerful as I should have gotten in that class. I understand, miss. So, what would you like to do? We do have an hour or two before the sun sets. Would you like anything? No, let's head straight back to the manor. I need to reorganize my collection. Very well. As the butler would drive, Trixie back to the manor. As we go to Inko Midoriya's board, which helps run her business. Can you believe that Inko Midoriya is in a coma right now? This will definitely make things harder in some business, now that she won't be attending any meetings. This will be bad. We cannot let her daughter find out. And we can't bring her daughter into business affairs. Not at her current age, anyway. First of all, how did this happen? Where were the guards? The guards were right outside. This had to have been handiwork of some professional. But why she's in a coma, I don't know. But we did find evidence of tampering in her office. Most likely a competitor looking for evidence on Inko Midoriya for either frame or to blackmail. Luckily, there was no such evidence in her office. That's good. But do we have any leads on who broke into her office? None so far. Whoever did took out the security cameras. In record time, may I add. This will make things difficult on business. But if her daughter finds out, there is definitely going to be some repercussions about this. Some of us may even end up losing our jobs over this. Literally. What about her father? Doesn't know either, as he's currently in another country. And we have not contacted Trixie's father at all. Keep on with the business means so far with our top personnel. We can't let anyone know that Inko Midoriya is in a coma. That will run business down substantially, a lot. But without her making any appearances, at least for a little bit, won't that questions be asked? Most likely. And if we'll just say she's dealing with a very important business deal, as we know how long those can take. I guess you're right. I guess we've come to a decision then. Yep. We'll continue doing business and act like Inko Midoriya is still working things until she wakes up. And we will not tell her daughter about this incident. Now this meeting is adjourned. And that is the end of What If Female Deku Was Trixie? Part 2. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.